Hello everyone! Welcome back to Board Games with me, Evil Dr. Ganymede. And after more technical difficulties, we're finally here again. Today, we are doing a one-off session of U-Boat Leader by Dan Burson Games. They're the same people that make Warfighter. And there is the box. And here is a bigger picture of the box. So it's another solo game. This time, this one is actually purely solo, unlike Warfighter, which is a 1 to 6 player game. But this is entirely solo, and it puts you in control of Germany's fleet of U-boats in the Second World War, which terrorized the North Atlantic for the first part of the war, at least until the Allies figured out a way to detect them better, and then promptly sent many of them down to the bottom of the sea. But this is focusing. It's interesting how they've done this. They've got multiple campaigns. They've got the Battle Begins, the Happy Time, Operation Drumbeat, which is this, and the Hunted. And these are the campaigns. These sheets here, and they basically tell you everything that you need to know about what your ships are doing, what your U-boats are doing. They're all the different eras. So the Battle Begins is the beginning of the war, when the U-boats went out into the North Atlantic, and half part of the Allies didn't really know what was hitting them. The Happy Time, kind of morbidly named, is actually a name that the German commanders gave to the period of sort of 1941-ish, where they were at their peak. Like, the U-boats were just smashing everything. Drumbeat here is when they ventured out more into the Atlantic and around the eastern seaboard of the US. And I think this period was actually sometimes called the Second Happy Time, or it's around this time as well, because they had a bit of an up and down. But after this was where it got really bad for the U-boats, because the Allies had sonar, ASDIC, whatever they call it, and they could ping the subs and generally rain barrel-shaped death on them. So the last campaign is the Hunted, that's in 1943, I think. And the boats have got a much higher chance of detecting the U-boats and destroying them and so on. We're doing Drumbeat here. I have already done one campaign off camera of the Battle Begins, and given it a go. So I'm not totally familiar with the rules, but I think I'm familiar enough that we can figure out how things work. This campaign, you can either do a short, medium, or long, and I'm going to try and do a medium one, if only to see, because I did a short campaign first, and that was good to just sort of get a hang of how all the boats moved and everything, and how the combat worked over here. But the medium one, you have 2 patrols, so you can actually sort of deal with refits and promoting your boats and all that sort of stuff that you can't really do in the first patrol, or in the short patrol. So the way this works is that we have the campaign here, which is the map of the area that we're going to go through. Our U-boats are all parked in Germany at the moment, although I think I might actually see if I can start them in France. I don't believe you have to start in Germany. Selecting U-boats, blah blah blah. So I think I might put. I've got U-43, which is commanded by Wilhelm Ambrosius, and it's KPTLT, which is I think it's Kapitan Leutnant or something. I'm not entirely sure of all the German ranks and things. But U-43, we've got U-96, which actually is the one made famous by the film Das Boot, which I actually just saw yesterday, because I've got it on DVD and I haven't watched it for ages, and I thought it'd be a good idea to watch it before playing this, and it's bloody awesome. And if you ever want to watch a film about submarines, that one is the one to watch. Especially the director's cut, really good. It's about 3 hours long, but it's just non-stop awesome. It's really good. It's super tense. You really get a feel for what the crews went through, and just the sheer terror of you're stuck in a tin can, possibly being crushed by the ocean around you, or possibly being crushed by the shockwaves from the bombs being dropped on you. While also, shooting ships and all the horribleness that entails. It's a really, really good film. So I would thoroughly recommend seeing that. But anyway, yes, that's U-96. That was that boat. And then we've got U-175 and U-503, which are those are both Type 9C submarines. U-43 is a Type 9A, and U-96 is a Type 7C submarine. Like they've all got like different numbers. I'm not entirely sure what the difference between them all is, but all I know is what they say on here. So I'll show you U-96 here. Pull up, if I stick that up there, maybe you can see that. I don't know if it will focus or not, but that's what it looks like. That's what your submarines look like, and they have all the stats down here, a bit of history stuff up the top there. This is a trained crew. It's got a hull of 3, and there is a certain level of stress they can take before they become shaken. And if they get more stress than 8, then they become unfit, and they can't do anything anymore. They basically have to head back to port, otherwise they've just had enough. One of the key things that happens in this game is that you're going to go out, and events happen as you patrol or as you move through areas, and you get stress from that, and stress is this sort of thing that just builds up and up, and can compromise your crew, and can compromise the stats of the U-boat as well. Hopefully for the U-boats at least, you will actually get to an area and encounter some contacts, which you then resolve by drawing cards, and they will show you, like for example, I'll show you the bottom one here. They will show you something like this, which tells you, it's basically a rendition of this map, because this is a tactical map. This is where we go when we actually start getting into combat, and this tells you where to put the ships, and this one, for example, tells you to put 2 merchant ships here and 2 merchant ships here, and an escort and an escort there. And then you can you place your U-boat, and then you start trying to torpedo some of them, or avoid getting depth charged by the escorts. And usually, at least having only played this once, but it seems that if an escort spots you, you're in trouble. um, it's time to leave at that point. But sometimes you can get lucky with the convoys, and you'll just find like just 2 merchant ships or something, and then you can just go, aha, free lunch, and torpedo them with relative impunity most of the time. But it's basically that's how it's going to work. Like we're going to go through these areas, see if we get to where we want to go in one piece, have a combat probably, see if we survive that combat, and then limp back home if we do survive, and hopefully get some refits and supplies and stuff like that, and live to fight another day. Also, what we have on here are a supply ship and some intel that will make things a little bit more interesting. So the way that you actually pick these U-boats is you have a certain number of points. Like here is the medium patrols, or the medium campaign. We have 50 SOs, which are the points that you use to buy everything. And these submarines have point values. And we have 16 here, 26 here, and 17 here, so that's what, 33, 43? 43. And then we got 7 left over, which I used to get an intel here, a supply here, and I just realised I've got 2 left over. What should I do with the 2 left over? We could do a raider mission. That's a special option that we can do. We could do a raider mission. That would involve coming down here into the Caribbean and heading to this spot where we essentially help German ships raid whale platforms and stuff, and we get victory points for that. And that's the aim here, is to get victory points, and we have this like little table here that tells us how many victory points we have and whether that's considered great, good, adequate, poor, or dismal. And I would like to at least try and get adequate, but who knows. I just about got adequate on my first mission. So yeah, I mean, I guess before I start, I did mention this at the end of the last stream, but this is it's one of these weird sort of games where I can't exactly go, woohoo, I sunk like an allied freighter or a passenger ship or something, because that's not actually good. I am basically playing the bad guys here, so it's a bit weird. I mean, watching Das Boot, I keep calling it Das Boot, but it's Das Boat apparently. But watching Das Boat was made me feel a little bit kind of better-ish about it, because it was like more, these are, they're Germans, but they're the people on these boats, especially in this era, were mostly just sort of ordinary human beings, and they were in a war doing bad things, as all the sides were doing pretty much, as long, I mean, obviously I'm not sort of condoning any of it or supporting any of it or whatever. It's just this is the only sort of option that we have for North Atlantic theatre campaigns, basically. Like there doesn't seem to be any games, really, oddly enough, that do it from the other side, where you're the ships trying to destroy the submarines. And I'm not sure why. I don't know whether that's because there's not as much of a game in there or something, because I mean, I don't know, like the cat and mouse with a submarine probably works both ways. But I have noticed there's an awful lot of of sub games that are Germans, where you play the Germans against a sort of bot allied faction, um, whereas in the Pacific theatre there are the games there are the US subs versus Japanese shipping, but there it's not much better because you're essentially either way you're sinking civilian vessels and things, right? And I guess it's like something like this. It makes it a bit more real than just like you're just an army and here's another army and we're just sort of blowing each other up on a hex map or something. Because A, you're both military in that case, and B, it's a lot more sort of zoomed out. Here, like the ships that you actually can sink were real ships that were actually sunk. There is actually I discovered there's a website called, I think it's just uboat.net, and it has, you can look up some of the ships that are in here, like all, I don't know if you can see this pile here, but there's a bunch of ships here that you can encounter, and they all have names like Tudor and Eulotta and Enid and Empress of Britain and Astronomer and San Fernando and Tibetan, and these are all real ships, and you can look them up and go, well, that one was sunk by you whatever in the year whatever, and X number of passengers survived and Y number of passengers got killed. So it makes it a lot more real. So it's interesting. Not really something you want to dwell on all the time there, but just sort of keep it in mind that this is a simulation of things where civilians were pretty much directly killed by the actions of the things that you're playing. So it's interesting. I'm not generally that sort of squeamish about these things, but there are some things where it's like, yeah, if I'm playing the bad guys and there's like civilians really involved, that's not exactly 100% comfortable there. But that's the point of it, I think, really, is that you're this is what history was, and it was not pretty. So with that in mind, let us venture forth and see what we can do in the North Atlantic. First things first. So we also have a campaign log that I'll be scribbling things down in. So you've got all of the ships, all the boats listed here, what the campaign is, how many points you spent, and so on. Then you'll be listing things like your XP and your stress and your victory points and so on. And we'll see where we end up, how many of these come back. I had 4 U-boats on my first campaign in The Battle Begins, and one of them sunk. And that one was U-43, which is now having a comeback. There's like U-43 Mark II, or alternate universe U-43. Yeah, we'll see who survives and who doesn't this time round. First up, we write down what the experience level of everyone is. So U-43 is trained. They're all trained, which is the second highest experience level out of 4. There's green, trained, veteran, and ace. Except for U-503, which is a veteran. So they have somewhat better stats, but they cost more, obviously, because they're better. But I don't think any of these are really bad. They all have mostly have quite a lot of torpedoes. We've got 6 on the Type 9s. We've got 6 ready torpedoes and 16 in reserve. 16 stored ones, so we can reload at sea up to that amount. The Type 7 is a somewhat smaller load. It's got 5 torpedoes and 9 stored. So they all have deck guns as well. That's what these little counters are. That they are showing the ammo or the bullets, shells, I suppose they are in the deck cannons. And we can attack with those as well, but obviously only when we're on the surface rather than submerged, because you can't find them underwater. Right, so let's get going. So the first couple of turns are going to be a little bit rusty as I remember how to do this. So first thing, oh yeah, we're going to decide whether I was going to do the radar thing. I might as well try that out. I might as well try that out. We'll send a ship on a radar mission. So we're going to put, I think, let's send U-96 out on the radar mission. So that's going to go down to, actually, should we put U-96 or U-43? Let's put U-43 on there, because he's got a slightly better gunnery skill. So let me just give the counter out for that. I didn't realise I was going to use that. Yeah, there's a bunch of special missions you can do. So you can go like mine laying or attacking other things, I guess. Enemy naval forces. You can do raiding and so on. So there's they're kind of special things that are not actually convoy chasing, but they convoy sinking. But they can get you victory points for doing things. So here's our radar counter, and we're going to go take that, and we're going to head over to here in the Caribbean, and we're going to sort of move here, move into this square, and then we're going to do the radar mission, and that will get us hopefully some victory points. But that is done only with the guns. We do not use the torpedoes for that one. I'm sorry, that is U-43 that's got that one. Right, so first thing is we move our boats. So we move one at a time, and that we just basically sort of go through each area, resolve the events and so on until we get to a spot, and then we stop moving, we do the next boat, and we do the next boat and so on. And then once we've done all of them, then we start resolving the tactical phase, which is when we get onto this map and we start moving ships around and discovering who they are and so on. So first up, we will try and move, let's move U-503 out of the port here in Germany, and let's move them into the North Atlantic. So we resolve the moving. So here, like, I don't know if you can see these, it actually says there's a patrolling, a moving, and a bunch of a little table that's contact numbers. And if we're moving through an area, we draw event cards equal to the number next to moving. If we're actually staying in an area, we just do the patrolling one. So let's see what we end up with. So we draw event card number 1 and see what happens at U-503. That is maintenance. You may spend 2 SOs to remove 1 stress from each U-boat. Well, that's nice. I don't have any stress yet though, so that's a bit useless to me right now, but that's good because it's not bad. And then the second event is clear weather, no effect. So that's even better. U503 has an uneventful trip through the North Atlantic. So now we have an option of going to the Grand Banks up here, the US Northeast or the Central Atlantic. And I was kind of fancying splitting this into two parts, so we can have U96 and 43 coming down here, and U503 and 175 in the northern part, and seeing what we can see. So I think I will go to Grand Banks next. And then I might pause there, and then maybe we'll send you 175 out to the US Northeast. So essentially what I'm going to do, I think, is 503 up here, 175 over here, 96 up to the East Coast, and 43 down to the Caribbean to do its mission. I think we're going to move U503 into Grand Banks, and that's another 1 now, because moving is 1. So we'll see what the event here is. Oh, now it's stormy weather. End U-boats movement for this step. Well, that's going to end anyway, so that's what I was planning to do. So they are there. I suppose I'm going to I'll flip everyone over to their submerged sides and flip them onto their surface side to show that they're not moving anymore. So U503 is in Grand Banks at the moment, and it will be looking for contacts in the tactical phase. So that's that moved. 175 is going to leave the port in Germany, and it's going to head out into the North Atlantic, so it too draws 2 event cards and see what happens. Ooh, enemy aircraft. Roll a die, add evasion rating. 1 to 4, 1 heavy hit, 5 to 8, 1 light hit, 9 to 11, add 1 stress, 12 plus, no stress. U-boat gains 1 experience point. Right, so this is an example of a bad thing that can happen, which is enemy aircraft spot you and drop bombs on you and fire machine guns and stuff, and generally do their darndest to kill you. So we roll a die. The evasion rating for U175 is shown on the card here under evade, and it's a 3. We have no stress at the moment. Our status is okay, so we just need to add 3 to whatever the die roll is here and hope we get a high number. And we got a 10, if you can see that. We got a 10. So we are in the clear, no stress at all, and we gain 1 experience point. So we notch that down. That is U175. We get 1 XP, so that's going to be handy. We can spend that later on if we survive. So got past that by guile and cunning, but that was just the first event. Second event is enemy aircraft again. Apparently they circled around. So same deal, exactly the same deal. What do we roll? Another 10. Genius. I like that. So again, 1 XP, no stress. Brilliant. That works out nicely. And then we're going to head off into the US Northeast area. So I have a supply ship here, and that is going to let me, during the refit phase, anyone in that area is going to be able to relieve stress a bit more. So we'll see what that, how that works when we get to it. But for now, we draw an event card. Oh, there we go. Patrolling Escort. If the U-boat is not unfit, so we are not unfit, it may expend any 2 torpedoes and suffer 2 stress points to gain 2 victory points. So this is essentially a it's like a single escort. You're not gonna go to the tactical map to play this one out. It's just resolved like you get a bit of stress, but you kill it and you get 2 victory points. So now we're looking at, do I want to blow my torpedoes on this? It will leave me with, the thing is, it will leave me with 4 torpedoes for any contacts that we actually have. So it's a matter of, do I want to spend the victory points, spend the torpedoes and get 2 stress in order to get 2 victory points? Because 6 is a good number of torpedoes to have for an actual convoy battle. 4 is getting a little tight. But how much stress can I take? 6 before I get to shaken and start losing things. I think I'm gonna avoid it. I think I'd like to have more torpedoes for the contacts, perhaps. So also you can see, hopefully, if you can see the picture here, I don't know if it will focus it or not, but the ship has got dazzle camouflage on it, which is sadly, I think it's a lost art, because nowadays people have radars and stuff like that, but they used to paint the sides of ships with, garish patterns that would break them up when, planes and subs and things were looking at them, or other ships were looking at them. And it had all sorts of crazy colour schemes and stripes and jagged things going on the sides of the hulls. It kind of looked pretty awesome. But yeah, I don't think there's any point in doing that anymore because of radar, etc. So yeah, I'm going to avoid that one, and we're going to see what the contacts give us, and hopefully there will be some contacts and we can fire torpedoes and so on. So I'm going to stay here and look for contacts, and then we're going to go down to the southern sector here. Let's get U40. No, let's get U96 going. So Central Atlantic only has 1 event card for our move. So we are going to. So here we go. We've got another big thing, a naval target. If the U-boat is not unfit, it may expend any 4 torpedoes and suffer 3 stress to gain 3 victory points. Oh, actually, says it may expend any 2 or 3 torpedoes. Like, does that mean you don't have to spend like your ready torpedoes, or does it mean just any other kind of? Because there are multiple types of torpedo as well. Again, that one's like a little. Yeah, that's more trouble. It's 4 torpedoes, and you get 3 victory points, but 3 stress points. Again, I think I'm going to give that a miss. At least now, maybe like later on in the missions, like when I'm going back or something. That's something we could do, but I'll give that a miss for now. Because you're not obliged to engage them. So U96 is going to go over to the east coast, where we have some intel, which means that we're more likely to get contacts, or more likely to get more contacts, which is going to be interesting and or deadly. Moving in here is another event card. A lone merchant. Ooh, now. Oh, hang on. So it says if the U-boat is not unfit, it may expend 1 torpedo to get 1 victory point. Or if we're after June 1942, there might be an enemy contact and I could get sunk. But we're not after June 1942, we're going up to June 1942. So that second bit doesn't count. Now it's now this is an interesting one because we've got 5 torpedoes. Well, we've got 5 plus the 9 here in the stored, and it does seem to say any torpedo. So I could get rid of one of the stored ones, and I will get 1 victory point with no stress, which kind of seems a bit like a good idea, really. So I'm going to use a stored torpedo. Because I'm assuming it's because you can, you're going into combat and then out of combat again. And then you can reload. You usually reload your torpedoes after your combat. So I'm assuming that's why they say any torpedo. But I will do that, and I will gain a victory point for U-96 and just sink a lone merchant ship who was foolish enough to be out there on its own. So now I have 8 stored torpedoes, which I will now mark with 2 4 counters, and then we're good. Up here we've got a whole butt ton of them. 16 stored in the bank on these ones. Right, so that's his thing, and now he's going to stay in there. And then U-43 is going to come out of port, and again we're going to do 1 event card. Another lone merchant. I mean, I totally shuffled these, I honestly did. But that's another lone merchant, which seems good. The 1942 onwards one is Ultra Intercept. Place a U-boat warning counter in this campaign map area. So obviously the Allies have some intelligence going on there. But again, this is not after June 1942. So again, U-43 gets to fire a torpedo at a lone merchant, and why wouldn't it do that given that it's going to get that essentially for free, well, minus the torpedo, but that works out for them. Doesn't work out for the merchant, unfortunately. Right, so and now U-43 is going to head off to the Caribbean, where it's moving again, so it gets 1 more card. Rough seas, add 1 stress to this U-boat. Right, so now we're going to get some stress. So we have a whole bunch of little counters, and we're going to put a little 1 stress counter, which looks like that. You wanted to see it? And that, these go up to like 8, so you can get quite a bit of stress. Yeah, we get tossed around a bit somehow, even though I guess we're close to the surface or something, because if you go deep enough then you don't get tossed around at all. But we must be coming up and searching around and so on. So now we're heading off to the radar thing here. So we're going to do this, and we're going to move into the radar box. And now we use our we've got to draw an event card, and then we've got to resolve the raiding mission, which is going to be using our gun. So event card. Again, I totally shuffled these up, and I'm just getting a whole bunch of similar things all in a row. Another rough seas, so that kind of makes sense, I suppose, because we're in the Caribbean, in the same area. Maybe it's a long storm, hurricane, I don't know, unlikely between February and June 1942, I guess, because they tend to be in the summer. But whatever, it's rough seas. But we're weathering it when we get to the Raider segment. So now, we have resolved all of that, and we it says special Raider, 1 event card, up to 6 gun attacks. So all we have to do is roll up to 6 gun attacks, so just roll a d10. If we get a roll of 8 or higher, then we have shot something valuable, like oil installations or whatever, and we get a victory point. So it's just a matter of how many do we want to do, and then seeing when we want to stop. Do we want to keep some gun for later, or some shells for later, or do we want to just sort of blow them all on this and just resort to using torpedoes only on the way back? So I think I'll do at least 3, but it's essentially it's just a matter of rolling d10 and then adding the gunnery skill, which is +1 for U-43. So let's try 3 times, then we'll see how we go. So 9. That's 1. 1 success. 10. That's another success. 3. That's another success. So we got 2 victory points out of that. I would like to carry on until I get at least a 3rd. So we've got 3 bullets left, or 3 shells left. That's another 3. We've got 2 shells left. That's a 7 plus 1 is 8. So that was 1 shell left. So that was the 5th one, wasn't it? Yes, that was the 5th one. So let's stop there with the guns. So we've got 1 shell left. So we replace that with a 1 counter. And we put that down there, and we're done. So the Raider is removed. That's resolved. We have got 3 victory points for raiding, which is for U-43. And then we have accomplished our mission. We go into the searched box, which means that we're done, essentially. We don't get to do anything else. That's all we did. We don't get to find any contacts or anything. Right. So now all our ships have moved. And now we get to the tactical segment, which is where it gets a bit more complicated. So yeah, the patrol doesn't end until we actually go back to the port as well. So we have to survive the return trip too. Alright, so that's the first part of the game, or first part of the patrol. Now we're going to move on to here. So, so we're going to resolve all of this boat by boat. So U-503, U-175 and U-96 are all going to get a chance to find contacts, and U-43 is not, because it's done its thing already. So let's start with U-503 up here. And we always have the option of going, we're not going to actually look for contacts at all. If we do that, we just go into the search bit and we're done. But we are. So U503 does not have any special abilities or anything, because they would be shown up here. This has none. 175 is a searcher, so they get a bonus on these things. U96 is cool, so they have a bonus for relieving the stress or not getting enough as much stress. And U43 is cool and a searcher. So we are just rolling a straight D10. So on this table, if we roll 1 to 2, there is no contacts. 3 to 6, we get 1. 7 to 9, we get 2. And then 10 plus, we get 3. So I will roll. And we got a 5, which is 1 contact. Ping! We got 1 contact. Which I'm just putting there just for show. Right. So that means we've got 1 chance at engagement with something here. And if we leave, we can't come back. If we had multiple contacts, then we could potentially leave the battle, escape from there, catch your breath, reload, repair, whatever, and then come back in. And if we wanted to continue the fight, it would be like it's a second contact. But we don't have that option right now. So first up, we draw a convoy card, well, that's an interesting one. So we have but a single merchant ship. So another lone merchant on its own. We also have torpedo firing solutions. Add 1 to torpedo die rolls. So that's even better. So what we do is we put a battle location on this, and we move our boat over here, and then we place our ship. So we have a whole bunch of these counters at the moment, and we have these red ones and these blue ones. And you may be able to see there's a question mark at the bottom of here, and a 2, which is the speed of the ships. So these blue ones are or at least the ones with these big ships on them, are the merchant ships. These red ones are their escorts. And on the flip side of the blue, there is a different silhouette of a ship. And those are the battleships that we may encounter somehow, which I haven't actually encountered. But they're the naval things. They're these things which are considerably more unpleasant. But for now, we just have an M for merchant. So that's a juicy target, basically. There's little. I mean, there is a chance they can damage me, but it's not likely to be much damage. Now we have to basically decide whether we're going in submerged or on the surface. If we go on the surface, we're going to use, we'd like to be using the guns more, or we can use the guns, but we're a bit more vulnerable. If we go in underwater, we can only use the torpedoes, but it's less likely that the merchants can do anything to us. Whereas if we're on the surface, there is a possibility they can damage us. So the other advantage of going in on the surface is that we're faster, but I don't know if that's really going to be a problem, because if we're going to be coming from up here, I think we'll have a chance to get it. So I think also the other thing is that I picked this guy for 503 because he has aggressive initiative. All the other guys are cautious, and that means that the U-boat actually attacks first. Most of the time, the escorts and so on have a chance to detect you first, and then if you don't get detected, you can attack. Well, you could potentially attack, I guess, still if you were detected, but you're likely to have been attacked first. But if you're aggressive, you just charge in there and can take them out. So I think let's be a bit cocky with it, I suppose, because let's have the option of guns and torpedoes. We're going to come in surfaced, so this side up, and we get to put our counter anywhere around here on the long range area, which is the outer ring. I don't know if you can see that there are rings. So we've got like a long range ring, we've got a medium range ring, and a short range ring, and a convoy area. And we can reveal what these ships are if we're within 2 squares that these are divided up in. So if we come, I mean, I keep coming in from this way, but I could equally just come in from that way. Engage a bit more quickly. So this being a normal U-boat, it only can set up in the outer ring, but if we were an infiltrator one, it could set up on the inner or even on the middle or even the innermost ring and just sort of sneak in. But we're a normal one, so I think we're going to come in this side like this. I feel quite confident about this one. So we are 0, 1, 2. We are not within 2 yet, but if we move, and we can get within 2 by going, let's see, 1, 2. So we're going to move 2 spaces because we have moved 2. And I think guns have certain range that we can do. Let's just remind ourselves how that works. Range of 0 or 1. So maybe I want to get, let's see what I want to do. So I could go over here and then I'll be 2 hexes away. Makes it a bit harder for me to hit. But I could also see them. Yeah, and because I'm at move 2 and so is this ship, there's no lag movement. Normally what would happen is we pick like the fastest ship and then move everything else back, because there'll be other ships here. We'll move everything else back but slower, so it's kind of like, you know, you're trying to keep up with this fleet. And if you're submerged, you only have a speed of 1, so you go slower and you kind of tend to get dragged back over time and as the fleet runs away from you, because they seem to be moving in this direction. That's the convoy course and that's the convoy wake. I'm figuring they have a chance of damaging me if I get too close, but if I get within 1, I can definitely have a better chance of firing the torpedoes, and I think the gun range. Gun range is 2, So at 2 I can fire the gun and torpedo without fear of them firing back at me, which is nice. But whatever, yeah, let's just go in, let's charge in there. So yeah, so if we start over here, we'll come in over here, basically. Essentially we're coming in from that way, and we're going to end up there, which is 1 square away from them. Now we are we resolve the lag movement, and there is no lag movement because we're both at the same speed essentially and keep up with each other. Now though, we are revealing who they are, so let's see what ship we're facing here. So we replace this with a random thing here, which I suppose I should have got another container or something, which I don't have at the moment, but we'll just jumble it up and pick one at random, and it is the Amsterdam. That is what we are facing, the Amsterdam. And feel free to look that one up and let me know what the damage was on that one. So, and we also got the +1 to the torpedo die rolls too, so that's another helpful thing. Oh, actually, sorry, I was confused. We don't pick them randomly because we have cards for that. We just pick the card randomly, like this. So this is actually, it's a Rotorua, which funnily enough, I was hoping that U-96 would run into this one, because this is actually a ship that U-96 sunk in historical terms. So so I know what the Rotorua is. There it is. And yeah, these pictures as well are, yeah, that's what the ship looked like. It was a large freighter, 11,000 tons, so that's quite a nasty one. Speed 2, victory points 2, experience points 2, surface 2 light. So there is a significant chance that they could damage me here. So this will be interesting. So there's a bunch of numbers at the bottom here. Gun 468, torpedo 5811. That's what I need to do. Light damage, heavy damage, or sink it. So I need to do 11 damage with a roll of 11 to sink it, a roll of 8 to do heavy damage, and a roll of 5 to do light damage with a torpedo, and a roll of 8 to sink it with a gun, 6 to sink it with a gun, and 6 to do heavy damage with a gun, and 4 to do light damage with a gun. So that's going to be a toughie. So we don't have to worry about escorts here, which is nice. So I'm going to come in guns blazing and torpedoes firing, and I am going to let rip. So now we basically decide how many torpedoes we're going to fire. So we can only fire from here, the ready area. And I'm thinking a first blast of 3 would be nice. So let's let loose with 3. I believe that's kind of standard doctrine. I was seeing that they were saying that it was usually you have like one in the front, one in the middle, one in the rear. So there's going to be 3 torpedoes fired at yon Rotorua. The more torpedoes you fire, the better your chance to hit is as well. So we've already got the +1 because we got the firing solutions in this convoy. And we get a +2 bonus because we're firing 3 torpedoes as well, so that it's 1 minus number of torpedoes you're firing. So overall we've got a +3. We don't have a bonus, do we? No, we do have a bonus for the torpedo skill, so that's +4. So that's looking quite nice. So you roll a die for each torpedo you fire. Keep only the highest modified die rolls for the final result. Yes. So let's roll. So we're going to roll. Have a look here. Okay, right, that's how it works. So yeah, you don't roll once for each torpedo then. You did that wrong the first time. So we're going to fire 3 torpedoes and we keep the highest one, and that's what the damage that you do is. So roll number 1, which I guess we can put this here, I suppose. Is a 4 plus. Was it 4? Yeah, +2, +1 for the solutions, and +1 for our torpedo skill. So that's an 8. Fire 2 is a 10, so that's a 14. I think that's going to sink it. And a 5, which is a 9. That ship is well and truly sunk. Yeah. There's also hang on. There's also a -1 per range. So yeah. So there's a -1 on that as well, because we're 1 square away. But that wouldn't have helped because we got a 13 on one of the rolls, and that is definitely going to sink it because that is an 11 to sink. So the Rotorua goes down, and we are left with 3. Torpedoes in our thing, and they don't get a chance to do anything back. So yeah, I don't believe anyone can do anything right now. Because we basically got the shot in first, and before they knew that we were in there. So, hurrah! 1 ship down, and that's it. There's nothing left. We have sunk the only ship. We can basically just leave now. I believe that is all done. So that was a nice easy one. No damage, no stress, just straight up. They're right in front of us, boom. Break their hull. So yeah, we just head off essentially. So now we just move out and away we go. So that was that. That was our contact, and we sunk them. So now we go into the search box, and that's that combat done. So we resolve all the other ones now, so these should go a little bit quicker. So back to the beginning again, and we see what we've got. So do we have a contact for U-175? So I guess Rotorua is now RIP, and we get 2 XP and 2 victory points for that one. So and 2 VPs as well. So now we get to roll on the I guess I'll put this down here. Now we get to roll on the contact table for U175. Now they are a searcher, which means they get an extra modifier on their roll. So they get a +1 on that. There's no warning counter on that one. There should be a warning counter up here, because that's they go out a radio message saying help, there's a U-boat here, and then got sunk. But now other people know that there is a boat there, which would be an issue if anyone else moved in there, because they can avoid the U-boat patrols. But we got +1 on our roll on the contact thing in the US Northeast, and that is a 7. And that is 2 contacts. So we have 2 contacts. So now we have a chance of leaving combat and then coming back, or just leaving the combat and finding another one to do. So we're going to draw a contact convoy card, and again it's a nice juicy 2 merchant ships. It's just an M and an M. 2 more hapless victims. So we're gonna resolve that now. Again, nice juicy targets. Where are we gonna put our boot? Let's put you. Let's come in over here, and then we'll just kind of charge in the middle there, I guess. Now that might not be a great idea. Let's go over here, and then we can see what's up. But hang on, let's look at the card, because there was other stuff here. Bow approach. U-boats starting at long range must start in the convoy course area. So we're actually starting right here. So I mean, I guess we could end up still here. We could end up here and get a 2 hex or a 2 square attack. You know, we can attack with torpedoes from medium range. And we can do 3 and 3, and let them rip basically. So that'll counter the -2 we get from the range. I'll make it a +1 net. We also have a +1 on the torpedo skill, so that'd be a +2 net. That seems interesting. Yeah, so let's we'll move into here, and we'll do we want to stay on the surface? Because basically if we're submerged, then we can move, and then we move again, because essentially what happens is these are faster than we are, so they're kind of moving up, but they don't actually move. It's like the map moves. So instead of them moving up, I move down 1, which means I end up being closer to them. So again, I think I'm gonna stay on the surface here, and that means I can just move here and I can stay there without changing the relative positions. So I'm gonna do that, and we're going to, I think, just let rip with 3 torpedoes apiece. Really, I think that's, might as well use all 3 of them on, or just divide our torpedoes up between them equally. So we're going to fire 3 torpedoes each, and we're going to resolve that. Let's see what they are first, though, before we do anything else. So let's put that in reserve for now until we see. So the left one is the Beaver Burn, and the right one is a Brazzer. So where are they? So the Beaver Burn is essentially defenseless. It has no surface attack at all. The Brazzer has a light surface attack, so that could damage us if it survives the experience. But in fact, I think it's better to attack us first because we're cautious in this boat. Where is the Brazzer? There it is. So we got the Brazzer, or the Bratzer, probably. Right. So again, with that in mind, I'm still going to do 3 and 3, but we'll see what happens now. So first, there's no lag movement. They don't get to detect me, but they will attack, or they will attempt to attack me, but they can only attack me at a range of 0 or 1. So I am not at 0 or 1, I'm actually at 2. So the Brazzer can't, or the Bratzer can't even attack me. So nothing's going to happen there. So I get my roll, and I get to attack them with torpedoes again. So as I said, we've got a range of 2, so that's -2. I've got 3 torpedoes each, so that's +1 on each of them. I've got a +1 on my torpedo skill, so that's +2 on each of them. So again, we're going to roll 3 dice, take the best one. Let's hit the Beaver Burn first. Again, these are 10,000 tonners. The Bratzer is actually a cargo liner, so that's going to be horrible on our conscience. But that's probably got passengers. The Beaver Burn is just a freighter, and they are, for torpedoes, they're 5, 8, 10 and 5, 8, 11, so again I want high numbers to sink them. I got +2 and I get best of 3. So Beaver Burn is a 10, so that's a 13. I mean, that's already sunk. Sorry, not 13, it's 12, isn't it? Because I've got +2. And another 10 and a 2. So cracked that one open. That's sunk totally. And the Bratzer is let's do, yeah, so it's +2. An 8, so that's a 10. It's a heavy damage. A 9, which is also a heavy damage. Can I get a 10 or a 9? No. So I've only got a heavy damage on that one. So the Beaver Burn has sunk, but the Bratzer is now at heavy. So if it takes another heavy damage, it's going to go down. Now, this is interesting because I now only have guns. I am on the surface though, so I can use them. So if I want to use the guns, I need to get up close to it. Now, the interesting thing now is that being heavily damaged, it's got penalties. So its speed is actually 0. It's got -2 on speed, detection, and attacking. So it's dead in the water. It has -2 on the attack. So it reduces its attack by 2 light hits. Well, it's only got 1 light, so it can't attack me now. It's a sitting duck, essentially. And if I attack it, I've got another +1. So my gun now, which is the only weapon that can fire at it, now has a... if I can move up pretty much right next to it, I can just blow it to pieces with my gun. So the gunnery skill on U175 is 0. So it's just going to be minus whatever the range is. There's -3 per range. Ooh, that's not great. I think I'm gonna have to. Yeah, we'll have to definitely move in on that. Repeat the combat phase. Right. So, if we repeat the combat phase, then we move. So we're gonna move. Essentially right into its area, because now there's no reason to hang around. We can just pounce on it. So they are essentially defenseless. They're all abandoning ship, hopefully. And we just get to fire with a +1 modifier. And now we're going to look at the 479 here, because that's our gun attack, and we've got a +1 on that because it's heavily damaged. So all we need is a 6 or more, and we've sunk it. And we get 1 attack, I believe. Yeah, 1 attack. So we're gonna roll, and we hopefully will get. It's just a matter of how much ammo I'm going to use to blow up the ship now. We get a 3, so that's a 4. That does a light damage to it though. So a heavy plus a light. Yeah, it's cumulative. So heavy plus a light just means it's got another -1 on everything. Like it's still screwed. Yeah, so I've used up 1 ammo, and now all that happens is I fire again, and I get a 6, and that sinks it. So I managed to blow it to bits, because a 6 is going to be a heavy damage, and it can only take 2 heavy damages. It's already taken a heavy and a light, so that tears it apart basically. So that was pretty brutal. But the Beaverburn and the Bratzer are down to no damage for me. So that was a pretty good hunt. And then I wander off. So that was 1 contact. I still have another contact left. So now, having left the field, so to speak, we can figure out what we want to do here. Yeah, so they head off, and we're basically doing one contact at a time, and then we're going to see what happens when they want to come back. So they're done for now. Let's have a look. Oh no, hang on. They're now we're going to the post-combat resolution phase. Sorry. So yeah, after all U-boats are moved off tactical display or are sunk, start the post-combat resolution phase. One thing, because I forgot to do this last time. So 103, for 503, they get 1 stress. You always get 1 stress when you leave combat. So I'm going to do both of these guys. Post-combat resolution phases. Then they can reload torpedoes. So they're going to reload 3 from the 3 from here. So they've got 6, and that's down to 3. So now we've got 13 remaining on 503, and we've got 10 remaining on 175. Then we sort out the experience points. So I already noted down the XP for 503, but we sunk 4 XP's worth of ships for 175, and that's 4 victory points as well. And then so at this point we don't have anything to do with 503, so they move back into the search box there. We get to decide now what to do with 175. So do we go in and look for another contact? Shall we push our luck a bit here? I think we should. That's what we're here for. Yeah, let's go back in. So I'm just thinking as well, like, maybe I should have done just 1 patrol. I might just end it at 1 patrol, because I want to just sort of do this tonight and not do this on Friday as well. This is more just that, like, a sort of show people how to play the game and see what it's like. So I may cap this at 1 patrol if it's gonna go on too long. I don't want to go too late. So technically, I may be over powerful for 1 patrol, because I should have 40 points to spend rather than 50. But what shall we do? I will check this second contact out with 175. So I am going to draw another convoy card and see what that shows, because we already detected the contact. So right, this is a biggie. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 merchants and 3 escorts. That is, I feel, a little too risky. So we do have the option of not engaging that contact, but we are going to choose not to do that, I think, because that will annihilate us, I think. I don't think we're going to be able to get a shot in without the escorts pouncing on us. Yeah. So let me just check the rules for that. So there's going to be detections and so on. Yeah, that seems a little too much. So I'm going to retreat from that one. So we're not going to have a contact there, and then I'm done basically. So that's sorted. Now we don't get a stress because we didn't get involved in the tactical, the combat side of things. We're already reloaded on torpedoes and so on from before. Didn't get any more things, so 175 is done. Right. I think it's time for U-96 then. So U-96 is in the East Coast zone, which has Intel +2. So that means that the contact rolls are more likely to generate a lot of contacts for U-96. So 96 might be a bit busy. Let's see what he's got. So he is cool. He is not a searcher though. And he is going to get there's no helpful things on that sheet. I think it's just a straight roll, isn't it? Let's just roll. We got a 3, and sorry, there's the intel, isn't it? So there's a 5. Sorry, that's this area also has a warning on it. Now that they've encountered stuff, it's going to be a 5, and that's it. So a 5 is 1. So the intel was actually quite useful because a 1 to 3 would have been 0 on that one. And because we rolled a 3, we would have had no contacts. But because we had intel, we actually did generate a contact. So let's see what that contact is. And it is another double merchant ship. So again, easy pickings. Yeah. Okay. So put that in there and there, and we have propaganda. Gain 1 extra victory point if you sink all the merchant ships. Well, that doesn't seem too difficult. So let's put 96 down here and pick our spot. Again, I'm going to come in on the surface. Again, I'm probably going to just do the same tactic as before, which is just come in here and we'll let rip with torpedoes, and we'll see where we are, and we'll use the guns to finish anyone else off. So we'll come in on the surface again. We're gonna see what we have first. So left is the Tudor and right is the Orari. Now these are interesting. They both have surface damage, or they both can inflict surface damage. Tudor isn't a huge ship, so torpedo sinking is 369. The Orari is a large steam merchant, 10,000 tonner. It's a 5.811 on the torpedoes, so it needs an 11 to sink it. So that's a tough one. So if we were to fire, let's see, U-96 has torpedo skill of +1. We've got a range of 2. So that's -2. If we were to fire 2 torpedoes, we've got 5 torpedoes. So if we fired 2 torpedoes at the Tudor and 3 at the Orari, then I think we're going to maximize our chances with them. So the Tudor is here, and the Arari is here. So that's what we're looking at. And we have +1, I think, on the Tudor. So we got -2 for the range, +2 for the, sorry, we got +1 for the torpedo spread on that one. So it's -1. And then we got +1 for the torpedo skill. So it's actually a wash on Tudor. Like, we get no modifiers. But on the Arari, we've got +1 because we've got +2 on the 3 torpedoes there. So that'll be interesting. So we rolled twice on the Tudor. And again, like, sorry, technically should resolve the ships attacking us, but we're out of range because they can only attack us out to a range of 1. So that part's done. So plus nothing on the Tudor, and we got 2 rolls. Got a 6, and we got a 2. So we're going to take the 6. The 6 is a heavy damage. So we have we've got a heavy damage on the Tudor because it was a 3, 6, and a 9. We got a +1 on the Arari. We basically need a 10 to sink it straight up because it's an 11. That's a 2. That's useless. That's a 1. That's completely useless. And that's a 3. That's even more useless. So all the torpedoes missed on that one. Wow. Okay. That's not good. That's not good at all. So the Tudor is definitely the weaker target now. So it's dead in the water. Now we're going to have to take a step back here, because in the second round, in the second round here, we've got lag movement going on. So we're going to pick the fastest ship, the fastest merchant ship going on. The Tudor is now moving back 2 because now its speed is 0, so it goes back 2 spots, which takes it further out of range. And I'm staying level with the Arari. Now, actually, before I do that, I'm supposed to actually move first. So, problem is, if I go here, I can stay within 2, but I'm also going to be in range of the Arari's 2 light surface attacks, and they essentially hit automatically. And how that works is I'm going to draw something from the cup up here, and there's a whole bunch of damage counters in here basically, and they may be no effect, they may be misses or something, but they may be actual damage to the U-boat, which I mean I can take, but I don't know if I want to risk it here. Is there any way I can get in there? So sorry, these 5 torpedoes are gone because they just got fired. Because I need to get close to that ship, and it's not gonna happen. Because now I got no torpedoes. Is there any way? How can I do this? Like the riskiest way is to just go here, and then the Tudor moves back on its lag movement, and it heads towards convoy or wake zone, so it's probably going to end up here. It'll still be 2 away from me though. The other thing I was thinking was maybe I could go and try and attack the Arari instead. But again, I'm going to have to get in close because I have to use my gun, because I don't have any torpedoes loaded here. Because you can only reload torpedoes when you go off the map, and you sort of do that post-combat resolution phase, and then you may be able to come back on afterwards. But while you're on the map, you can't reload. So, interesting decision to make, methinks. If I go for the Arari and possibly heavily damage it, then its speed will go down, which means the Tudor won't go back as far, and I can catch up with them. But I'm going to have to go essentially here, and in order to have a decent chance. If I go in the same space, I could do that as well, but then they totally have a chance of hitting me. I don't actually think it makes a difference. Yeah, it does make a difference, because if I'm right next to them, if I'm right on top of them, they get 1 heavy hit. So that's not good. I do get to evade. My evasion is 4. So I get -1 light hit for every 2 U-boat evasion ratings, so that's nice. So I could cancel out the 2 light hits if I am 1 square away. But I'll get a -1 on my hit. I think that's better, isn't it? That is better. So I can actually go here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to move down into here, into this square. Then the lag movement happens. These guys move back into the short range box back here, because they have speed of 0 now. I am now 1 square next to the Arari rather than in the same spot. The Arari can attempt to hit me with its surface weaponry, but my U-boat evasion is 4. I cancel out its 2 light hits, so I get no damage. Like, I don't draw, because I draw 0 counters from there. And it's automatic. It's like they're if they could do a net of 1 light or heavy damage to me, I have to draw a counter from there, and I just have to hope it's either it's a no effect or something, relatively trivial. But the way I've done it here is that I've sort of maximized minimized the chance for them to damage me, so that I'm essentially getting 0 damage. I avoid what they can throw at me, which means now that's their go on me, and they can't do anything. But their go on me is done. I can now attack them with a gun. So I need a 4, 6, 8. So I need to get above a 4. I've got a -1, and that's it, because I've got 1 range on them. So it's a -1. I don't have any gunnery on my U-96, and they do not have damage. So I'm rolling. I essentially need a 5, a 7, or a 9 to do damage or sinking them. preferably something high, please. 10. That is good. So with a 10, I have rolled a 9, essentially a modified 9, and I have sunk it. So I've actually managed to let loose and with the cannons and sink the Arari. So that is a good shot. Cool. Okay. So now there is no there's no faster ship on the board here. So now I get to move 1, 2. In fact, I get to move 1, 2 because I can go in the same space as the Tudor now. They have they can't attack me. They've got -2 light hits on their attack, and they only have 1 light hit, so they are crippled. They have 0 movement, but we're not doing a lag move anymore because they're essentially the reference ship now. I can just sidle up to it, pop up my guns, and blow it out of the water essentially. So I'm just using the Tudor for target practice basically. So I just need to do a heavy hit on it to sink it, and we're done with that one. So again, we're at 0 range, so no penalty, no gunnery modifier, +1 because they are heavily damaged, so I actually get a +1 on my roll, and I need a 2, 4, or 6. I get a 10, which is more than enough to sink it. Goodbye, Tudor. So Tudor is down. It sinks beneath the waves. U-96 fires 1 cannon shell, and that's that. And then U-96 toddles off. So that was its 1 contact, but that was fruitful because between them, the Tudor had 1 victory point and 1 XP. The Arari had 2 victory points and 2 XP, so it's a total of 3. But we get 1 extra VP if we sunk all the merchant ships from the propaganda thing. So U-96 comes off quite nicely. So we got +1, +2 on each of those, right? 1 + 2, 1 + 2. Good. So how much have we got so far? 4, 8, 12, 14 so far. That's still dismal. So let's see what else we can do here then. So they wander off. They're gonna get 1 stress from their combat as usual, the post-combat resolution thing. They're going to reload at sea, and they're going to get 5 torpedoes back in the mix, and they're going to be left with 3. So they don't have much more combat left in them. And I think that is it. We recorded all their stuff, and then we're good. So everyone has now done stuff. So what do we do now? because the U-43 doesn't get to do contacts because it's done its special radar mission, so it's already done. So we do the refit segment. So first, promote U-boats. So the number in the corner here is we've got train 8, train 6, train 5, veteran 10. That number is how many experience points we need to promote to the next level. I don't believe that we have anything quite that high yet. U-175, U-175 actually has 6 XP. That's interesting. So he can actually promote. That's interesting. Cool. So they've actually become a veteran. So let's do that, shall we? So trained, that turns into U-175. So you've got all these cards, and they are all the other U-boats, and they have 2 cards for each U-boat. One has trained and green on it, and the other one has veteran and ace on it. So you're going to flip over to veteran now. That still has the 1 stress, and it still has the same number of torpedoes and stuff, but it's got different gunnery and torpedo skills, and the evasion is higher as well. Loses experience points it gained at the promotion. So it's that was a 5, wasn't it? So it's down to 1 now. We've got 1 left over. Nice. Okay. We haven't completed the patrol yet. We're still out. But the promoting doesn't require it to be in port or anything. Then stress recovery. So we can reduce the number of stress points while in port or when it goes to a forward operating base, which there isn't one. But the supply thing can also affect this as well. Same area as a supply ship, it gets to lose 2 stress. So the 175 loses, 175 over here loses its stress point anyway, but it's also losing it because it's got the supply ship there. It doesn't reduce stress normally. It only reduces if it has the call ability normally. But because there's a supply ship there, it'll lose 1 stress point. So that's interesting. Right, so at-sea check. Yeah, so if a campaign is not over and there are no submarines in any sea areas, only in the port boxes, subtract 2 from your victory point total. So if all our ships were in the port and not doing anything, then we lose victory points because we're just sitting on our asses, basically. nobody's in port. We can do C reloads, which are just reloads again. Reset the campaign map, so all of the warnings and intel go away now, and everyone is back in action, and that's one full turn essentially of the campaign. So far we've sunk 5 ships, and we've not really gotten into any horrible combat. Again, I'm thinking we might just change this to a short campaign, and use the short scale, because I'm not going to have time to do a 2 patrol thing. But at least hopefully you've seen now, like after we've sort of fumbled through it, this is how combat broadly works. I'll see if I can get into a fight with Escort, so you can see how that works as well before I return. So, what's the likeliest area to do a thing here? I suppose you can move everyone back 1 space, and then we can see, because if we move everyone back, we could even, I don't think we actually have a chance of doing wolf packs, because I somehow have to roll above an 8 on a 1d10. Oh, actually no, it's a 1d10, isn't it? It's not a 1d6. We might have a chance of doing wolf packs then. That could be interesting. So wolf pack is when you can theoretically, if another U-boat is in the same area, you can actually call them for help in attacking a convoy. So that might be interesting for a big convoy. All right, let's move 503 back then. Let's see what we have to do. Hang on. Yes, so we're going to move 503 back to the North Atlantic. So again, we've got 2 event cards. If we were choosing to stay in Grand Banks, we'd be using the patrolling thing here, and that means we would draw 2 event cards there. But because we moved out of there, we're going to move. We're going to do 2 events in the North Atlantic. So, it's our friends, the enemy aircraft. So 503 has an evasion of 3, so we're going to add 3 to that, whatever rolls, and hopefully not get bombed. 8, that is 11, that is 1 stress. So we now have 2 stress, which is fine. We can handle up to 7 without cracking, so we're good. We gain 1 XP for U503. Plus 1. And we draw a second event. Morale boost. Ah, nice. Morale boost. Remove 2 stress from this U-boat. Well, that's nice. So I just get rid of that. Excellent. Something, I don't know, dolphins or something. We see dolphins frolicking beside our U-boat. Good. Okay. That worked out well. So I'm not gonna return to port. We're gonna hang around and see what we can see in terms of contacts. So U175 is going to move back into North Atlantic too. So we're gonna roll. We're gonna get 2 events again. Clear weather. Now, just as well. Wow, just as well, because we've got clear weather. But if this was a hunted campaign, so post June 1942, we would have made a fatal error, and if we had been shaken or unfit, we roll a die, and depending on our experience level, if we roll low enough, we may just sink. So, you know, it's a lot harsher in the hunted era. But this is not the hunted era. We are fine. There is no effect. We're good. Second event is Stormy Weather. Wow. Poseidon is fickle. End U-boat's movement for this step. So, you know, even if we wanted to go back to port, we couldn't. We're just stuck there. So now we've got 2 U-boats in the area, which is interesting. Then we get to move U-96. Now we're moving back into the Central Atlantic, so we're going to just do 1 event card for the Central Atlantic in this area. Again, clear weather, and again, after June 1942, we get a hunter-killer group. Roll a die, add evasion rating, and the lower the number, the more stress I get. So again, just as well, I am not in the hunted era. Okay. U-43 gets the move, and they will also draw an event card. Rough seas, add 1 stress to this U-boat. And also enemy aircraft. Oh, this is not good. So U-43 are getting a bit stressed. They're on 3 stress now. They're about to have bombs dropped on them though. So add evasion rating. What is our evasion rating? 3. Roll the die, add evasion rating, hope for a high number. 4. Ooh, that's not good. 7. That is a light hit. Alright, now you get to see what damage is. So the planes have attacked us. We are going to resolve some damage. And we are going to get light damage. So we fish out a counter from here. And then we take it out and we have a look at it. So the counters have a heavy side. So heavy is 1 stress. Light is no effect on this one. So that's good because it says we got a light hit. We look at the light side, it says no effect, we're fine. And that goes back in the box. So yay. We narrowly avoided combat, some damage there. So that's good. And we are back in the Central Atlantic. So now we get to see what we can do. Let's see how wolf packs work. Roll die, modified die roll, blah blah blah. Right, that's when we draw another one. Okay. Right, okay. I've never done a wolf pack before, so this could be interesting if we can get it to work. Right. So we select one active U-boat. Da 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 da. Right. let's do the North Atlantic first. So let's use the 503. So we are rolling a 1 to 3 is 0 contacts, 4 to 7 is 1, 8 to 9 is 2. Now we've got modifiers, possibly. 503, there's no intel, no searcher, there's no warning counters anymore. We're not attacked. So no modifiers. Let's see how many contacts we get. 9, ooh. 2 contacts for U503, interesting. So we're going to resolve these one U-boat at a time. So, contact number 1. So we've got one more contact and we're going to draw a card for this. This is... interesting. Potentially quite juicy. So we've got 4 merchant ships in a square, and we've got an escort in the front. And we also have iron nerves. Add 2 to the gun and torpedo die rolls at range 0 or 1. Ooh. Well, that's pretty good. I think that's tempting, really, isn't it? Let's go take that on, shall we? So we get 4 merchants arranged in a square, and we get 1 escort. So these can potentially be quite scary, the escorts. But if I can perhaps draw in a wolf pack, or make a wolf pack, that will be quite nice. So we got a battle in the North Atlantic, and we got a warning in the North Atlantic. So that might make it harder for U-175 to find anything, if it's not drawn in here. Now, I'm thinking we might want to come into this submerged, because now it's now we've got an escort, and escorts are a bit worrying. So let's come in submerged, probably on there will speed 2, so I would lag back 1. So I don't want to come back here because I will just basically just go down here. But if I come in high, if I come in too high, I'm gonna end up running into the escort. So I want to try and come in like here perhaps, and try and sideswipe some. This might be a kind of hit and run type thing, but we'll see what happens. Now 503 is aggressive, so it can fire first, which is nice. And we are going to pick out, we're going to determine who the targets are at a range of 0, 1 or 2. And if we're aggressive, we get to attack first. So it might be worth, with 503, it might be worth actually going straight for the escort, because if we can blow the escort, then the rest are just sitting ducks, right? And we're going to get the first shot in. Yeah, I think that might be nice. So how does protection work? So escorts detect a move before combat actually happens, so after the lag move. They can check for detection against each surface U-boat at a range of 0, 1 or 2, so I definitely don't want to be surfaced. And each submerged one at a range of 0 or 1. And then if one escort detects me, they all detect me. And then they're all going to start bombing their way towards me to try and destroy me. So I'm going to come in submerged here. I'll do a move. They have a move of 2. I do want to kind of see. The annoying thing is I want to see what they are, so I have to stay within a range of 2, but I'm going to have to essentially come 0, 1, 2 here. Well, actually no, I can't, I'm submerged. I'm going to have to go here, and then I'm 2 away from them, so I can see the ships on the right side here. Whatever it is, port, starboard, I can't remember. On this side, closest to me, I can see what these ships are. I can identify them. And then the thing is, then I'm going to lag, aren't I? But you reveal the ships first, so yeah, so we're going to move here. We're going to then reveal the ships. So now we have an escort up the front, which is going to be the Chuckmere, and then we've got the merchant ships, so the San Fernando and the Robin Moore. So the HMS Chuckmere is a frigate. That looks kind of mean. Surface detect 5, submerged detect 6, too heavy. Ooh, ouch. Okay, surface detect 5, 3 light, submerged detect 6, too heavy. Gun 5, 8, 10, torpedo 6, 8, 12, so it's a tough one to sink as well. Eesh. Okay, let's hope he doesn't detect me. Meanwhile, the San Fernando here is a 579, 4710, 3 victory points, that's quite juicy. 13,000 ton large tanker. Can do surface 2 light though. Robin Moore is a medium freighter, 5,000 ton, 1 victory point, 1 XP, surface 1 light, 358, 369. So that's easiest to sink. Right, that's kind of the lowest victory points and stuff, but it's the easiest target. So let's get these ID'd. So we got the San Fernando, there's a Robin Moore, and the San Fernando was here. So the other 2 ships are unknown at the moment, but we know that these guys are the San Fernando and the Robin Moore, and we know that this guy is the Chuckmere. So I look through my pile of red ships here, and I find the Chuckmere. Oops. Who moves at 2. Alright, so that's me here. Now, I guess we'll just put this down here for now. Now we get to lag. So merchant with the highest speed, that's going to be a 2. So I have a speed of 1. I will move back to the convoy wake area, which which is here. Now, I'm not sure if I have to go here or if I can just go down like this, because if I go here, that's going to get me quite dangerously close to people. But I think I'm going to go down there, because that's still, as long as I ultimately end up down here, I think it doesn't matter. Because I'm going to end up either going down this way or down this way, or even down that way, but I'm still going to go towards the convoy wake area either way. So I'm going to move down to here. Now the escort detects and moves. So we are beyond the range of 1 from the escort, so that's nice. Roll the die, modify the die roll, compare it to the surface or submerged. Right, so nobody's alerted, nobody's got damage, nobody's got tactics, so it's just a straight roll. But if it's equal to or greater than their detection number, so at the moment it's a 6, but I'm submerged at a range of beyond 0 or 1. So he can only detect me if I'm around him. So I'm actually good. It's not going to detect me. Cool. So there's no escorts, there's no detected U-boats here. So they get to kind of roll randomly, or the escorts get to move. They get to move randomly. They are in the short range area. So let's see what we roll. It's a 10. Escort in the short range area moves 1 area clockwise in the short range area. Ooh, so he's actually moving down here. He's coming to have a look, even though he doesn't know I'm here. Right. Interesting. Okay, so 503 is sneaking around. Now 503 is aggressive, so he's going to get a shot in. So the escorts don't attack. If I'm not detected. Tempting though it is to try and take out the Chuckmere, it's going to be quite difficult. And it's going to be quite difficult to do that. Alright, at what point do I form wolf packs? Oh, I should have done that at the beginning, never mind. Poop. Okay, I missed my chance to do that. I should have done that before I moved. So, sorry, I'm just like referring to the rules here, because this is where it gets complicated, or it gets more complicated. Okay, looks like I'm facing this one on my own. Right. So, I have a range of 2 to the Chuckmere. That's -2. If I let rip with 3 torpedoes, that cancels out the range thing. And I have a +1 for my torpedo skill. So I would get a +1 on my torpedoes if I fired 3 at him. If I fired 4, I could have a bigger chance of taking him down. I would get a +2. I would have to roll a 10 to sink him though? Huh. But if I manage to sink him, I could take my pickings of the merchant ships. Risky. Because I'm thinking I could do a spread of 4 on the Chuckmere and 2 on the one of the merchant ships. Maybe the Robin Moore, because that's the weaker one. Be more likely to get a sink out of that one. But then that would leave me with no torpedoes, and I can't fire the guns because I can't surface. But I could come back out of the combat because I've got 2 contacts, and then we can just carve up ships when we come back. No, we can't. So if we were to leave the combat, having sunk the Escort, if we like left and then did the post-combat resolution, then came back in with using the other contact, another Escort would appear because it's assumed there's more Escorts around, but this just happens to be the one that's nearest, and when this is sunk, another one comes in and replaces it. So that wouldn't be good. Really should have called that the Wolfpack in on that one. Yeah, that was a bit annoying. Maybe. So I don't really have a chance to take my pick of all these ships because I've come in under the surface and I can't come up to the surface during the tactical phase. I have to do that afterwards. I could go away and come back in and having reloaded and then do the Wolfpack thing, or try for a Wolfpack, but it's unlikely. I mean, it's a 1 in 8 chance that I wouldn't be able to call anyone else in. Maybe it's better to just let rip at the San Fernando and the Robin Moore and then make a break for it, I think would be best. Yeah, so I think I'm going to do that. We could go 3-3 again and then just run. I think. Yeah, so we're going to split our fire 3 and 3 on the San Fernando and the Robin Moore. And then we'll see what happens. Right. So if I fire, that U-boat is going to be alerted, or the Escort, I mean, is going to be alerted. Okay. That improves its range. That's not good. And it's also quicker than me. It's gonna get messy, but let's go for it. I'm aggressive. So we're gonna fire at the boats, at the merchants. So we have a range of 2 on both of them. We've got +2 bonus for the 3 torpedoes, so it's a -2 +2, and we now have we got +1 for the torpedo skill, so it's a net +1 on each of them. So San Fernando first. We need high numbers, please. A 2, that's useless. Another 2, good God. Come on, third torpedo. 4. Well, that was a light damage. Okay, San Fernando has light damage. That was pretty useless. I'm also not using the rules. There's optional rules for the torpedoes having varying qualities depending on what year it is. At the moment, I would roll on my torpedoes and it'd be like they could all automatically miss, or only one runs correctly, or half of them run correctly, or all of them run correctly, but I'm not doing that. I'm just doing the straight rules here. So Robin Moore. Let's see if I can roll a slightly better thing here. So we have 5 modified, that's a light hit. 4, that's another light hit. Come on. A 6. That's a heavy hit, modified. So that's giving it a bit of a pummeling. But again, that's 3 torpedoes, no sinkings. That's not good. That's not good at all. Okay. Well, now I'm for it, because that's definitely alerted the Chuckmere, and now it can detect me. Potentially. So it doesn't detect me yet, though, which is interesting. Only does that at the start of the turn. But it's alerted. It's not detected me yet, though. Can only attack me if I'm detected and submerged, if it's in the same area, which makes sense. But now it doesn't roll to detect or do anything basically at the moment. All it is alerted, so next turn it will be easier for it to detect me. I think that's it. I'm out of range of the other 2 ships anyway, and I'm submerged anyway, so they can't hit me. So we go back to the beginning. And now we get to move. So, interestingly, these guys are the reference ships, or one of these guys is the reference ship, because this is now 1 slower and this is now dead in the water. So these ones are going to go back. I'm going to want to go back as well to kind of greet them here, but I'm going to be lagging back as well. So I'm going to go back here. This guy, Robin Moore, is going to come in here. because it's going to go back 2. And the San Fernando is going back 1. Because San Fernando is lightly damaged and the Robin Moore is heavy damaged. The Escort now gets to try and detect me, and now they can detect me because they've got the +1 at range 0, 1 or 2. So they're at 0 here, 1, 2, 1, 2. I'm just out of range, which is nice. Cool, so he still can't detect me. Interesting. That is interesting. So I might have slunk out of his way. The Robin Moore can't detect me because I'm submerged. And the San Fernando can't detect me either. I'm out of range. So now the annoying thing is now I can't do anything. All I can do is leave, I think. Because I can't fire my gun because I'm not on the surface and I have no torpedoes left. So that's a bit annoying. Oh, I gotta roll for the movement of the Escort. 9, again, moving clockwise, damn you. It's moving over here. Okay. That ain't good. Yeah, I think all I can do is actually move off the map and then come back later and remember to do the Wolfpack thing next time. But there'll be well, the Escort will be back in its spot. Yeah. Okay, so I can't attack. The boats can't attack me because they can only attack surface vessels, and the Escort can't see me yet. So we're back down to end of combat again, and then we go back to the top of the combat resolution phase. I am, I guess, moving into the convoy wake area here. I suppose, actually, technically, because I was here, that's 1, 2 from here. I could actually reveal this merchant ship before. So that merchant ship is the HMS Astronomer, for what that's worth. Where is the Astronomer? I saw you a minute ago. Damastos. No, you're over here. No, you're battleships. Where is the Astronomer? There it is. So that's the Astronomer, but that doesn't matter. So Escort has another chance to attack me, but I've got to do the movement first. So yeah, so that was, I couldn't see that last turn when I was there. Now I'm moving back 1 because these are still all moving at 2. This is moving back 2, so he's actually off the board now, and he's moving back 1 because he's still lightly damaged. So what happens if they move off the board? Are they just gone? Guess they are. Yeah, that's exited the battle. So the Robin Moore is actually gone. It's off is been left too far behind. Which seems weird because you'd think I would just go for that one and ignore the ones that are going ahead, but that's how that works. But there is a rule about that, which we can see about later on if we leave the combat, because we can get a final shot in. Maybe if we have torpedoes, if it lets us fire it with no torpedoes left in the ready slots. So the Escort now is still alerted. It can still look at range 0, 1 or 2, so it's 0, 1 or 2. I'm still out of range. It's not going to see me, so now I just head off the map basically in the next turn. Nothing else happens. So that was a little bit of a bust, but so what we could do is I have a contact left. Well, actually, let's go through the sequence here. I gotta get a stress because it was a combat. So 503 gets a stress. I can reload torpedoes now because now I'm off the board. So we're in the post-combat resolution step now. So I can reload torpedoes, so I most certainly will, and I will get 6 torpedoes in there, and that becomes a 7, I believe. And didn't get any XP for that. I get record victory points, didn't get any victory points, so I can do nothing, in which case I'm finished. I can return to the contact phase, which just means start a new convoy. I can re-attack this convoy. Ships with heavy damage are removed from the battle. I can try and form a wolf pack again, or I can get a final shot. So if one or more ships ended with a heavy damage counter, I can choose to re-attack any of those ships instead of re-attacking the convoy. So this is what I was talking about. Now that the Robin Moor's moved back off the map, it's on its own. And now that I've left as well, I can just choose to attack that and ignore the rest of the convoy. And that is essentially, it's an instant kill. I spend 1 ready or stored torpedo or 1 gun ammo to sink the ship, but I expend that counter for the that contact counter, so I would not get a chance to re-attack this convoy. Given that's just 1 XP and 1 victory point, I might let that go. Because now, instead, I can, they basically reform back into their positions. I can come back in, but I can possibly summon a wolf pack, or form a wolf pack with U-175 if the roll succeeds. Which seems a little bit better, really, doesn't it? Yeah. But we get a new escort. That's interesting. So alert, they are still alerted. so they're still aware that there are ships around. Interesting. Let's give it another crack and see where we end up. So, what happens now is the alerted combat counter stays. The Chuckmere disappears and is replaced by a question mark. So Chuckmere is out. I'll just put that up there. The Astronomer remains. The San Fernando was at the top here. That's still lightly damaged. The Robin Moore has limped off and is way in the back. It's just gone wee, chug, 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 and it's gone, but it's survived. And now I am left with a reloaded, slightly more stressed out U-503 having another crack at it. So put that up there. So this is a San Fernando, this is the Astronomer, which is a merchant auxiliary. Now the San Fernando is damaged. If I can get that, that would be nice. Now the problem is the Escort's still alerted, even though it's a different Escort. I still get an opportunity to form a wolf pack, so I can try and call 175. Now wolf packs 1 to 8 fails to join, 9+ joins wolf pack. If unmodified roll is 1, add 1 stress and convoy is alerted. Again, that's not good. Okay, well, let's hope we don't get a 1. I could have got a radio call as a special option with my excess points from, I had 7 points left over from the buying the U-boats, which I spent on the supply, intelligence, and the radar. I actually had 1 left over. Yeah, I should have decided that at the beginning. Oh well, yeah, I miscalculated there. So, never mind. So I'm going to roll, and I'm going to hope I get a 9 or more. I got a 3. So no wolf pack. Damn it. So I'm on my own. Right. Well, how am I going to do this then? So, again, if I can stay beyond 2 hexes or 2 squares of the Escort, I should be okay. I'm still submerged. If I come in here again, I'm going to lag, I'm going to move and then lag. So again, I'm going to end up here. And I want to end up there, really. If I go here, I come in here, and then if I lag back down there, I'm still 2 hexes away. I'm just going to call them hexes because I just keep calling them that. You know what I mean? Squares, units, whatever. Now actually he's going to lag as well because he's still got his light damage on him, hasn't he? Ooh, interesting. Yeah. Which still gets him at 2. I really would like to sink that one though, because it's got quite a lot of victory points. And XP for that matter. So that's what it would be after the lag. Well, what I could do is, if I came in at this angle, then I'd go down here, then I'd go lagging down there, and then he'd lag back to here, and then I'd be 2 squares away from him, but further away from the other one there. And I'd also be 2 squares away from the astronomer, which could make it an interesting target. I mean, that's another tough one, but it's only got 1 victory point, whereas San Fernando's 3. So if I did, I would probably do this and then fire maybe 4 torpedoes at the San Fernando and 2 at the astronomer, just to see if I can get it, and then I can just cut out of there before that escort spots me. Yeah. Oh, I missed on the iron nerves as well, didn't I? I didn't get within 1 hex of the ship. That would have been handy. I mean, I could, if I went here, moved there. I mean, I suppose I'd be moving here with the lag, wouldn't I? So I wouldn't be able to do that. I'd move there and then there. Yeah, that wouldn't really work out with it. Now, that's the way it's going to be set up then. So after the lag movements and everything, I'll come in here, move there, and then lag back there. And then this one's just gone back 1. And then the escort cannot detect me at all because I am too far back. I'm beyond a range of 2. 1, 2. Or 1, 2 here, so it's, yeah, it can only see me if I'm in the top half of the board there. The ships don't see me either because I'm submerged. I am aggressive. I think I am going to do like a fire and forget thing here. So I'm going to do 4 and 2 because I just want to try and sink the ship and then run away. So I'm going to launch a 4 spread on the San Fernando, and I'm going to launch a 2 spread at the astronomer just to see if I can just get a lucky hit. So we're at -2 because we've got 2 squares difference range, but we got a +3 because of the number of torpedoes, so that's +1. And I got a torpedo skill of +1, so that's +2. So we got a +2 on my roll, and I do not get any other bonuses for the light damage. So +2, and I got 4 rolls, and I take the best one. So let's hope for a high number. Sorry, that's the Robin Moore. That's out of it. Roll number 1 is a 4, so that's a 6. That would be a light damage, so not great. 5, that's a 7, which is a heavy damage. High number, come on, another 7. 1 more. All I've got is a heavy damage so far. 8. That's a 10 modified, is it not? And that is a sink. That is a 10. It sunk. We finally got it. San Fernando sinks below the waves. And let's not think about how many people were on that one. Right. Well, that's definitely there. So we put another alerted on there. We will see if we can get a lucky hit over here. So we've only got a it's still a +2 because it's two squares away. Yeah. Right, +2. No, it's not. It's a +1 because it's -2 because it's 2 hexes away. +1 because it's 2 torpedoes, so that's -1. +1 for my torpedo skill, so it's actually evens. So no modifier, just 2 rolls, and I need to get a 10 to sink it. That's a 5, and that's a 7. That's a heavy damage at least, but that's not enough to do anything with that. However, that could cause it to drift back, and I could get a last shot at it if it leaves the board. So I think we're good there. I forgot to roll for where the escort's moving, sorry. 8, that's clockwise again, isn't it? Right, so that was on its first move, so it still doesn't detect me, and it got that extra thing then. But now it might have a chance of picking me up on the next turn. So now I am going to go now I'm going to do something intriguing here, I think. So I can't fire anymore because I have let rip with all my torpedoes. So next round I am going to still haven't been detected, which is good. So lagging. So astronomer is dead in the water. We've got a 2. This guy's still going at 2. So astronomer's coming back 2 here. I'm going back 1. The escort is going to, so it's got a range of 0, 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. That's not that one. It needs another one to pick me up. So it can't detect me yet. Then it moves randomly on a 1. On 1 to 3, escort in the short range area moves one area counterclockwise. So now it's going in the other direction because it doesn't know where I am. Even though I just sunk a ship here and sunk a ship there, I mean, or damaged a ship here, you think that might narrow it down a bit? Maybe, I don't know. I suppose it wouldn't really, would it? Okay. Then I get to attack theoretically, but I can't attack. So again, we're at a stalemate now. He doesn't know where I am, but I'm out of torpedoes. So we start the next round, and now the astronomer heads off the board because it's going back 2, and I'm in the wake bit. I'm going to go back off 2 as well. So now we're both off the board, and these guys are gone. You know, like we've left that convoy. So what we're going to do is we're going to do the final shot. Oh wait, we can't do the final shot, can we? Because we got no contacts left. Ah, damn it! I thought I could get an easy victory point there, but I can't do that because we only had 2 contacts. So we've lost the astronomer. So 2 ships got out of that, but fortunately that was only 2 victory points worth of things. But we did sink the San Fernando, and we did escape. So we're done. The 503 is done. So now there's a warning up here. And I think, is there another warning now? Is there another warning? First time each U-boat draws a convoy, right, okay. So there isn't one. Right, they're all gone. So the alerteds don't matter anymore. These are all gone. We never find out what the other merchant was, but they were probably counting their lucky stars they didn't get torpedoes, because they were the only ones that didn't. But we heavily damaged 2 ships anyway. And then they're out. So add a stress to U-503. And we get to reload torpedoes. You can have 6 back. Not that we're really going to be using them much, because we're going to be finishing soon. So it is going to be just 1 patrol. I don't know what we're going to do points wise, but it's more just a fun thing, just to sort of show you how the game works, really. And then we're going to so we reloaded torpedoes, then we note down experience points and victory points, and we got 3 for the San Fernando and 2 XP for the San Fernando, and that is it. And that's it for you. So that was just the 503, but at least that's, now you see kind of what a full combat is kind of like. I mean, it wasn't, we managed to evade a lot of trouble there, but so far so good, at least on that one. So 175, we're going to roll for its contact, but it's gone -2 now because they've been warned that 503 is on the prowl. That's an 8, which is reduced to a 6, which is 1 contact. So right. So how are we going to what are we going to do with this one? 1 contact. We so U-503 is done. It's not available for wolf packs anymore. So whatever 175 is going to face it alone. Now, hang on, 175, 175 is a searcher as well, so he's got the +1, because it's got searcher on the thing there now. And it's got a -2 for the warning counter. So it's a -1, actually. So it would have been a 7, which is still a 1. Yeah, okay. Alright, that works. So, the contact is... Ooh. 2 escorts. 4 merchants. Huh. That could be risky. Let's give it a crack. They're feeling a bit confident. Now the problem is they're all cautious now, so the ships get to attack first. So we've got to be careful now. So this may be interesting. We'll try and do a sort of hit and run type thing, but we'll see what we get. So we got 4 merchants and 2 escorts. Now 1 is there and 1 is there. We do get +1 on our torpedo rolls because it's we got firing solutions again. But now we'll see if 175's luck will hold out. We don't want to come in surfaced for sure. But yeah, if we come in like this, we're just going to lag back, so that's not good. Coming over here maybe, but then we'll lag back to here. Yeah, might be able to. Yeah. So let's come in here, and then let's. So we got 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. We can reveal all of these ships, so I'm going to. So the escort is the Stellar Canopus, and the merchants, top and bottom, are the Athol Prince and the Pyrrhus. Okay, so we have the Pyrrhus, and we have the Athol Prince, which I have not seen. Where the heck is the Athol Prince? What is the Athol Prince? It's a tanker. There it is. Right. So, Athol Prince at the top, Pyrrhus at the bottom, and we got the Stellar Canopus or Stellar Canopus over here. Okay, that is an ASW trawler, so it looks like it's some kind of converted civilian ship. So they're not as good, I think, at detecting. Equal to or greater, yeah, because they've got a higher detect number. And they don't have massive heavy depth charges either, so that's nice. Right, then lagging, we go back 1, which brings us into this back end here, and I get to reveal what this card is now, because that's in range, and that is the Clan Ogilvy. All of these unfortunately are light except for the Athol Prince. Clan Ogilvy is a bulk carrier, Pyrrhus is a steam merchant, 6,000 ton and 7,000 ton, and the Athol Prince is a small tanker at 9,000. Right, so that's the Clan Ogilvy, which I did see. Clan Ogilvy, they are. Right, so crowded field. still undetected. There's a new contact. Nobody knows we're here. They've been warned there are U-boats in the area, but that's it. Now, I mean, it's a moot point, I suppose, but now there's another warning going out, but nobody cares because there's no other U-boat there. Right. We've done the lag. Here in my mouth there. U-boat, Escort is going to detect the move. So, submerged, we're at a 0 or 1. I can only look at what's immediately around it. It has no idea I'm there. Neither do they. But I'm going to let rip with some torpedoes once they do things. So now the escorts move because they haven't detected me. So the Stellar Canopus moves again clockwise, and the unknown one, oh, you're moving anti-clockwise. So that's clockwise, isn't it? Anti-clockwise that way, right? Oh, great! They're both coming towards me. That's pretty cracking, isn't it? Can I get a shot off? And the Canopus is it's not that heavy, but I don't fancy my chances on that one. They both got a speed of 2, so they're going to like barrel down towards me. They'll be on top of me. Although I think what I'm actually going to do is move down here next turn. So I'll fire, move here, and then I'm going to lag out of the combat. So it will just be a glancing hit and run type thing, and I don't think they'll have a chance to catch me. Yeah. So that will work nicely. So they don't get to attack me because I'm not detected. So I get to attack them. So I have 6 torpedoes. Unfortunately, we've got a range of 3 on the Atoll Prince. So that's a -3. If I fire 3 torpedoes at that, that brings it up to a -1. We've got firing solutions, so that brings it up to another +1, so to 0. And I have a torpedo skill now of +2, so I could get a +2 on the rolls if I attacked him. I get a +3 on the rolls if I attacked him with 3, the Pyrrhus. This one gives me more victory points though, so and between the Pyrrhus and the Ogilvy there's not much here. Ogilvy is as hard to sink as the Pyrrhus, and they're not that horrible, but the Atoll Prince though is relatively easy to sink. It's 258. So I think I'm going to do that. I'm going to do a +3 on the Atoll Prince. Sorry, 3 torpedo spread on the Atoll Prince, which will give me a +2 overall. And I'm going to do a +3 on the Pyrrhus. I could make it more likely actually. If I do 4 torpedoes on the Atoll Prince and 2 on the Pyrrhus, that makes that +3. And then that will make that a +2, I believe. That's going to be 1, 2, that's -2, plus 1, so that's minus 1, 0, plus 2. Yeah, so it's going to be a plus 2 total. And that's going to be a plus 3 total, right? 1, 2, 3, 0. Yeah, plus 3. So yeah, I'm going to do that. Sorry, I'm just calculating there. So I'm going to let rip with my 4 and 2. So that's going to get a plus 3, that's going to get a plus 2 overall. Because I suddenly have a whopping great plus 2 torpedo skill, which is pretty awesome. So, 4 torpedoes against the Apple Prince. And I'm just looking for anything above a 5 to sink it, because it's an 8 to sink the Apple Prince. So yeah, overkill. And I've got it straight away. 6 plus 3, 9, boom. It doesn't really matter what the rest is. I've got a 10, a 4, and a 5. It's well and truly sunk. So, Apple Prince goes down. Blub, blub, blub. That's a 175. And they're definitely alerted. So that's everyone's alerted basically. The Pyrrhus with its plus 2, so I need a 3, 7, 10. Yeah, 158, isn't it? So I'm going to do a light damage on it at least. It's a 6. That's a 6. Plus 2 is 8. That's a 7 plus 2 is 9. That's not enough. That just does a heavy damage to it, unfortunately. But that cripples it. So now what? Now nobody gets to do anything. Everyone's alerted, everyone knows what's going on. Now I get to do the move again. So now I am heading out. So I'm going to go down here. And then lag movement. This guy comes back down 2. 1, 2. I go off the board. And that's good enough for me. Sank the Apple Prince. That's that'll do me. Right, and then I don't get a final shot again because it was only one contact. So I've done. I've got away, and I managed to sink the Apple Prince. So I get to put more torpedoes on. So that's now 6 and 4. I get to add a stress. So that's done. I get to scribble down some victory points, which is 2 for the Apple Prince. And sorry, that should be 2 there. 2 plus 2 plus 2. And 1 XP. Right. Okay. Well, that's the North Atlantic done. Now let's see what the Central Atlantic has to offer. So these go back. go back. These go back. These go back. This goes back. That goes back. Right. And these ones go away. So let's add them to the fled pile. Right. So the Pyrrhus up here got away relatively scot-free. Actually, he got heavy damage, didn't he? Clan Ogilvy got away though, didn't he? Where did I put him? There he was. Okay, right. So what do we want to do down down here? Should we do 96 first? Yes. Let's do 96 first. So 96, U96 our famous Das Boot is going to roll for the contact. Nothing going on, no searcher, no warning counter in that area, so it's just a straight roll. Right, this is not terribly likely. 1 to 5 is 0. That's a 2, so U96 gets no contact. So he's done. There's nothing more for U96 to do. U43 is going to roll. Now he is a searcher, so he's got a +1. And he gets a 5. So no, nothing for him either. Right, that's everybody. So, refit time. Anyone got any more XP? U503 has 5, that's halfway to the next level. U175 has got 2 remaining after he upgraded. The other 2 didn't get anything. So nothing happening there. Patrol limits. That's it. Stress recovery. Nothing doing there. That's import. That doesn't do anything. That doesn't do anything. Everyone is still out. No restock. Reloading. I think we're all reloaded anyway, but I mean that's basically it. That is basically it, because I'm out of time, and the next turn we're all going to just head back to the port, and we're done. I mean that's it. End of patrol. Technically I should have another patrol, but yeah, I thought it would. I thought I'd have time to do 2, but that was possibly a little bit ambitious. So at the end, what do? We just tot up the points, don't we? So no U-boats got sunk. Nobody even got damaged, so it was a fairly uneventful trip, really. Sorry. But I mean, I suppose the whole point is that you're trying to avoid getting hit by things. So it wasn't a particularly risk-taking thing, unfortunately. Yeah, maybe I should have taken one of the bigger convoys and tried to do it. But I mean, the the really big convoy that I saw, the big one that had the 6 ships and the 3 escorts, that would have just annihilated my ship. I don't think I would have been able to get out of that one on my boat. So yeah, maybe if I'd done another convoy, another patrol, we would have got something interesting happening, or more interesting happening. But as it is, I mean, I've sunk how much? 16, 26, 36, 45. Wow. 45, 56, 69,000 tons of shipping I have sunk. Wow. Good God. That's ridiculous. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 ships and crippled 3 more. Yikes. Wow. That's pretty impressive for 3 subs. And a raider got a few points as well in the Caribbean. So I could carry it on Friday, but I feel like I want to do something else on Friday. Probably do another warfighter, but this time Pacific, because I should have that by then. So we'll see, but I just wanted to do one session of this one anyway. Yeah, we're going to call it there. And you just add up the victory points that we got, and -3 for every sunk U-boat, which we didn't get. So I have, bear in mind if I use a medium table here, I'm probably going to do terribly. So I might just use a short one, even though I'm a bit overpowered for it. So I got 1, 2, 3, 4 there, so that's 4 there, that's 6 there, got 5 there. Is that all? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 14. Yeah. So I ended up with 14 plus more from the other things as well, that all the events and stuff. So 14, 19. So, yeah, on a short campaign, 19 would be adequate. And it was just one patrol, so maybe I should just use that. On a medium campaign, it'd be dismal, down here. But I'm going to go for adequate, because it was a campaign cut short, essentially. But it doesn't matter really. Like, the whole point is to, at least for this stream, was just to show you how it works, really. So, I think I am going to leave it there. But hopefully that's given you an idea. We didn't really get into the damage. But essentially, if, just say, let's say you 503, let's say, has a heavy damage done to it. I'll show you how that works quickly. So we pulled this one out, and the heavy side says 4 tubes. So what that would mean is that I put that to, well, I keep that there temporarily. I grab the red 4 tubes counter here, and that would kill 4 of my tubes straight away. So I'm down to, instead from 6, I'm down to 2 torpedoes that I can fire at any one time. So that would have been a pain. And then this would go back in there. You can get temporary damage as well, which would be like a light damage roll, probably. Like, I'll see if I can find one that was like 4 stress or 2 stress. This one's gun. So gun L means light damage on the gun, and this guess, is heavy. The heavy one is hull L. That's light damage on the hull. So you get out the like the gun light counter here, which is the yellow one, and that still I don't know if that cripples the gun. What does that do to it? That cripples the gun. But the difference between the light and the heavy damage is that you can repair heavy damage. You can repair light damage if you're at a forward operating base at sea, or if you're at port, but you can only repair heavy damage if you're at port. So yeah, I mean that's basically how damage works, and it's the ships do varying amounts of damage depending on where they are. Like if the escorts had actually caught me, detected me, and charged up to me, because they would have just, on their move, they would have just moved at full speed towards me until they were on top of me, and then they would have dropped all their depth charges. Then they're looking at, the Chuckmere would have done 2 heavy damage, which means I would draw 2 heavy counters, and that would be, I would have taken, in that case, light electrical and light 2 tubes damage, if that had hit. The Stellar Canopus would have done 3 light damage to me if it had picked me up, so that would have been 1 stress, no effect, and 1 stress in this case, like, because they're all different counters, right? So I would have done 2 stress to me. So that's how that works, basically. There are these other things that are naval convoys in this game. I've not run into those. I don't know if they're just in the Hunted or something. But with that, you have a chance of drawing the big ships. And like here, for example, this is the HMS Penelope, which is a light cruiser. It has a speed of 3, and it would do 4 light damage to a surface vessel, and it wouldn't be able to do any submerged damage at all. But interestingly, I guess these guys are more heavily armoured, because gun is 8 NA NA, so you can only do a light damage with a gun at most, and you can't do any damage at all that's heavier than that with a gun. With a torpedo you can still sink them, but they're obviously protected by armour. And then you've got these fleet escort things as well. You've got these naval things, naval convoys, which are like, I'll see if I can find a naval convoy here. Like anything with an N. There isn't one with an N. What would they be? There are naval convoys. I just don't know where they are. I think they're in the other section here, where we got rid of a few cards as well, because the campaign requires that you take some of the convoys out. So let's have a look at this. Is it one of these? Yes. So that's a completely ridiculous convoy. 8 merchant ships and 4 escorts. That's just crazy. But this is a naval convoy. So it's got 4 naval and 3 escorts. So this would have 4 of these guys in the middle. So that would essentially be, whatever we pick for them. You would have the Devonshire, the Eagle, the Rodney, and the Royal Oak, which of course is a battleship. And then you would have 3 escorts on top of that. So you'd have whatever the Fleet Escort C, Fleet Escort B, and I believe, are the ones that we use, and that's what these are. And these are just depth charge central, right? They're horrible. They're all the same, I think. Yeah, they're all the same. They all do 2 heavy damage. And then you've got the battleships in the middle here, which are ridiculous. Like the Eagle. Eagle here is a fleet carrier. 3 light, 2 light damage. Galatia here, 4 light damage. Light cruiser here again. Like, I think these guys don't have depth charges, interestingly. Yeah, they don't seem to have depth charges on them, so they don't do heavy damage. But the fleet escorts are way heavier. So that would have been a nastier thing. But that is that. So hope that's given you an idea at least of how U-Boat Leader works. There are it's not the only submarine game out there. There are others. GMT make several that all seem to be kind of clones of the same system as far as I can see. There's the Hunters, the Hunted, which is the Hunters and the Hunted basically seem to be like this, except it's broken up into 2 separate games. I think because the Hunters was the original game, and that was from 1939 to 1942 or 3, so this era. And then apparently people wanted to do the rest of the war, so even though it was the Hunted era when U-boats were getting, completely bombed out of existence, but they released the Hunted later on, and it's the same system, but it's like the latter part of the war, and it's more. It looks similar to this, but it's more focused on one sub. Like, so you get, it's more tables, rolling on tables, and more like you can actually sort of fix different areas of your sub and so on. But I'm not sure if it actually looks that worth getting if I've already got U-Boat Leader. Because I don't really want to get too many variations on a theme. And it all seems to be like, this is pretty much a push your luck kind of game. Like, you want to, do you want to risk taking that convoy on? Do you want to risk firing X number of torpedoes, or using up all your bullets, or moving around further to get more events and so on? So this is a push your luck kind of game. What I've seen of the Hunters is more. It just seems to be a lot of rolling on tables, and again an element of push your luck, and I don't know if it really adds that much to the game. So I think I'm probably going to actually end up sticking with U-Boat Leader, but there's but if you don't have it, it might be worth getting. I don't know. I just figured I'd get U-Boat Leader because it actually covered both eras of the war rather than just one, and then I'd have to get another one that would cover the latter half. There's also Silent Victory, which is again based on the same system as the Hunters and the Hunted, I think. That's Pacific versus, so it's Pacific US versus Japanese shipping. DVG do Gato Leader or Gato Leader, which is the same thing, and it's basically pretty much the same as U-Boat Leader, just Pacific maps, Pacific subs, etc. So that's the Pacific Theatre equivalent of U-Boat Leader. So again, I didn't want to get both of them because they're just 2 versions of the same game, essentially. So there's that. I think they've got Beneath the Med coming up on the P500, which is a Mediterranean sub thing, probably using the same rules as Hunters and Silent Victory. there's Atlantic Chase, which is coming out, which is, that does look different. That's more, it's got a different mechanism. It's like you're almost like building routes across the Atlantic and trying to get your U-boats to intercept them, because you're trying to intercept the convoys and they're trying to outwit you and so on. It's a different kind of game, so that could be interesting. But I've not really seen enough about that to make a call on that one. But I think that's a bit down the line on the P500. So yeah, there are other sub games. There's one ridiculous looking one called U-Boot coming out. It's one of those Kickstarter things, and I'm very skeptical of Kickstarter games that are A, massive, B, have tons and tons of miniatures, because they all just blur into one thing for me. It's like, how many, ridiculously expensive, gigantic boxed, multiple miniatures kind of games can you have? But there's one that it is kind of cool in that it's got this big actual physical model of a U-boat, and you move people around on it and so on. But the other downside of it, apart from being Kickstarter and ridiculous amount of miniatures and loads of unnecessary cruft that you don't really need, is that it's also app driven. So you have to connect it. You have to use an iPad or something to do your aiming and all that stuff, and that's an instant turn off for me. I do not want to use. The only reason I want to use a phone or an app or something for a game is if it's like calculating the scores or something, or maybe rolling the dice or something. I don't want it to be an integral part of the game, because who knows, like 10 years down the line it might not even be supported anymore, and you've just got half of a game in the box now. So yeah, that looks a bit tacky, to be honest, to me, but just from what I've seen of it anyway. People have played it and said it's fun, I'm sure, but that really doesn't look like my kind of game. Not really serious enough, I think. Too gimmicky. But yeah, so there's a bunch of other sub games out there. This I think is I think, given what I've seen in the GMT ones, this is more accessible. It's a little bit more easier to manage than the GMT ones. They got like tons of tables and things like that, like lots of arcane looking things with boxes everywhere and so on. This is just a bit more clean and simple, I think. So yeah, I mean it's a fun one though. I mean it's this one took a long time because I'm sort of just babbling away and explaining what I'm doing and so on. I'm sure I could get it down to much shorter, half the time if I was actually playing it. I think the first game I did take about half the time, a couple of hours maybe. But that was to do one patrol. So yeah, the more patrols you do, the longer it will take, I guess. But it being a solo game, who's counting? You just do it whenever you want to do it, right? But yeah, hopefully that was interesting at least. I will now go and feel bad for all the ships that I've sunk, I guess. But yeah, so that was U-Boat Leader. It was by DVG. So that's the game again. And make sure you get the second edition, because that's got the later rule set. And if you're gonna track it down, I think nowadays all you can find is the second edition anyway. So yeah, and this as well is it's part of like the leader games that DVG does are they're all solo games. They're all different types of things. So there's like a B-17 leader, there's a Phantom leader, there's a Corsair leader for World War II Pacific. There's I think they've got like an Israeli Defense Force leader as well, which seems very specific, but sure. There's I think there's a couple of others. There's tank ones as well. It's like Sherman leader and Tiger leader as well. So they all use I think they use a different system to this though. But it's the same idea. You've got like a tactical display and you've got campaign things and other stuff happens. I don't know if I'll bother picking those up or not. So I got quite a lot of solo games already. And like I said, they've got Gato leader or Gato leader as well, which is the Pacific submarine one, if that's more your thing, rather than the North Atlantic U-boat era. But yeah, there are others to look at too, but this is the only one of the leader series that I have. Otherwise I just have Warfighter. So speaking of which, Friday, hopefully by then, maybe tomorrow, if not tomorrow then Wednesday, I will be getting another bunch of games, and among them will be Warfighter 2 Pacific. So I was thinking I might give that a crack on Friday, and we will do some US versus Japan in the jungles somewhere. And then after that, I don't know, maybe we'll do Pavlov's House next week, or the week after that. I should be getting Fields of Fire as well. That might be interesting if I can figure that out. Apparently it's got a legendarily complicated rulebook, but that's like a company level warfighter, and that is by GMT. Way more complicated, but it looks kind of cool. So I'm picking that up, and I'm going to get the the Fields of Fire Volume 2 as well when that's coming out. I think they just charged my card for it on the P500, so yeah, lots of stuff coming anyway. But this Friday, Warfighter 2, Warfighter World War II Pacific, I think. Okay, I'm going to stop babbling now. Hopefully that was good. Yeah, we'll do Pacific on Friday. So, thank you for watching, and I will see you next time. Ta-da!